When most people think of the world's greatest cathedrals, they think of Notre Dame in Paris. They think of Cologne in Germany. They think of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. What almost nobody thinks about is America. And that is the greatest architectural misconception of the modern world. The United States is home to structures so massive, so complex, and so breathtaking that European architects have traveled specifically to study them. Some took longer to build than the Eiffel Tower. Some contain more stained glass than any cathedral in medieval Europe. And one of them has a fragment of actual moon rock embedded inside its windows. Welcome to Global Index 360. Today we rank the top 5 most magnificent cathedrals in America. Stay until number 1, because it took 83 years to complete and contains something no cathedral on earth has ever had before. At number 5, the Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart in Newark, New Jersey. Most visitors to New York City never cross the river to Newark. That is their loss, because what stands here is one of the most underestimated Gothic masterpieces in the entire Western Hemisphere. Construction began in 1899 and was not completed until 1954, 55 years of continuous building. The result is a structure that stretches 365 feet in length and rises 260 feet at its twin spires, making it directly comparable in scale to Westminster Abbey in London and Notre Dame in Paris. Its interior floor space covers 45,000 square feet. The cathedral features over 200 individual stained glass windows, each one handcrafted, each one irreplaceable. Its nave, the central hall you walk through when you enter, soars to heights that make visitors stop and look up involuntarily every single time. The Gothic arches, the stone carvings, the sheer vertical scale of the space create what architects call the sublime effect, the physical sensation that the building is larger than what the human mind can fully process. The Sacred Heart Cathedral receives over 100,000 visitors per year. It stands not as a tourist destination but as a living working cathedral, with daily services, concerts, and community events that have continued without interruption since 1954. If you visit New York, cross the river. You will not regret it. Number 4 takes us to the American Midwest, to a building that most of the world has never seen, but that experts in sacred architecture consider one of the most extraordinary interiors ever created. The Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, Missouri. From the outside, its massive Romanesque facade and twin domes make it appear ancient, more Vatican than Missouri. But it is what is inside that places this cathedral in a category of its own. The Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis contains the largest collection of mosaic artwork in the entire world. 41.5 million pieces of glass. 83,000 square feet of surface covered entirely in hand-placed mosaic tile. Every arch, every dome, every wall and ceiling surface, covered in a continuous artwork that took generations of artists to complete. 2 of the cathedral's altars were designed by Tiffany Studios, the same Tiffany that created the most famous decorative glasswork in American history. The building's crypt and museum contain artifacts and records that document over a century of artistic and architectural achievement. It receives approximately 350,000 visitors per year, many of whom describe the moment they enter the cathedral as one of the most visually overwhelming experiences of their lives. In St. Louis, Missouri, of all places, humanity built something that has no equal on earth. Number 3 is the most visited cathedral in the United States, and one of the most photographed buildings in the entire world. St. Patrick's Cathedral, 5th Avenue, New York City. It occupies an entire city block in the most expensive real estate market on earth, surrounded on all sides by glass skyscrapers worth billions of dollars. And yet when you stand in front of it, the skyscrapers disappear. The cathedral demands your full attention. Its 2 spires rise 330 feet above 5th Avenue. Its white marble and stone facade, built between 1858 and 1879, has never been painted, never been altered, and never been modernized. It looks exactly as it did when it was completed over 140 years ago. The interior contains 20 altars, 2 of them designed by Tiffany & Company. Its rose window above the main entrance measures over 40 feet in diameter and is composed of more than 4,000 individual pieces of hand-cut stained glass. The cathedral has 2 pipe organs. It has hosted the funerals of cardinals, archbishops, police officers, and firefighters killed on September 11, 2001. Over 5 million people visit St. Patrick's Cathedral every single year. That number is higher than the annual visitor count of the Louvre in Paris. In the middle of Manhattan, surrounded by commerce and noise and the relentless energy of New York City, this cathedral is a place where millions of people from every nation on earth choose to stop, enter, and be silent. Number 2 is the largest Catholic church in all of North America, and one of the 10 largest churches anywhere on the planet. The Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C. Its scale is genuinely difficult to comprehend from photographs. The structure covers an area of approximately 77,000 square feet. Its bell tower rises 329 feet above the surrounding neighborhood. Inside, it contains over 80 chapels and oratories, each one a complete architectural space in its own right, each one representing a different nation, culture, or tradition within the Catholic world. The Basilica's 56 carillon bells were cast in France and the Netherlands, two of the great bell-making traditions in European history. They are played multiple times every single day and can be heard for miles across Washington, D.C. The mosaic artwork that covers the interior surfaces rivals anything in Europe in both scale and artistic complexity. It receives approximately 1 million visitors per year. It stands on a hill in northwest Washington, visible from miles away, deliberately positioned to be seen from the greatest possible distance. The architects who designed it wanted every person approaching Washington, D.C. to understand that this building was built to endure. Not for decades, but for centuries. And number 1, the most magnificent cathedral in America, is the Washington National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. And what makes it extraordinary is not just its architecture. It is its story. Construction began on September 29, 1907, when Theodore Roosevelt was President of the United States and the Wright brothers had made their first powered flight just 4 years earlier. It was not completed until September 29, 1990, 83 years later. It outlasted the construction of every major skyscraper in America. It was being built during both World Wars, during the Great Depression, during the Space Age, during the Cold War, and it was finished using the same techniques and the same hand-carved stone methods that medieval European cathedral builders used 800 years ago. Every stone in the Washington National Cathedral was cut and placed by hand. The cathedral stands on the highest point in Washington, D.C., visible from throughout the city. Its central tower rises 301 feet. It is the 6th largest cathedral in the world and the 2nd largest in the United States. Over 200 stained glass windows fill its interior with color and light. And inside one of those windows, the space window, there is embedded a small fragment of actual lunar rock brought back by the Apollo 11 astronauts in 1969. A piece of the moon. Inside a cathedral window, in Washington, D.C., it receives over 400,000 visitors per year. Presidents have lain in state here. State funerals have been held here. And on the morning of September 14, 2001, 3 days after the September 11 attacks, a national prayer service was held inside this cathedral that was broadcast live to the entire world. The planet, the numbers, the truth. Washington National Cathedral is number 1. And that is your Global Index 360, top 5 most magnificent cathedrals in America. Sacred Heart in Newark at 5. St. Louis at 4. St. Patrick's in New York at 3. The National Shrine in Washington at 2. And Washington National Cathedral at number 1. Which one would you visit first? Tell us in the comments. We read every single one. If you learned something today, subscribe to Global Index 360. Because next time we are ranking the top 5 longest bridges in the world, and the engineering behind number 1 will change the way you think about what human beings are capable of building. See you at the top.